Hello and welcome to another podcast by Regardez Technology. Today we're fortunate enough and honoured enough to be welcomed by Professor Luc Soler. Professor Soler is a member of the French Academy of Surgery. He is president of Visible Patient, and he is a professor at the Faculty of Medicine in the University of Strasbourg. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning. Thank you for your invitation.
No problems at all. Thank you for accepting it. I was hoping I could get you to talk about your professional background, if you wouldn't mind, and how you ended up where you are today.
So everything started in 1994 when I started my PhD in computer science in partnership with ERCAD. ERCAD is a renowned institute, worldwide renowned for education of surgeons worldwide. And it has been created by Professor Jacques Maresco, that is also renowned to have performed the first transatlantic surgery with a robot in 2001. And so I was the head, after my PhD, Professor Maresco proposed me to be the head of research of the ERCAD Institute, and I became like this, the scientific director of this institute. And during all this year, when I was the scientific director, during 20 years, we have developed with Jacques Maresco a set of software with the objective to create, to optimize, to realize the dream of the surgeon. And perhaps you know this dream or not, I don't know. This dream is to have to be a kind of Superman. I would like to illustrate, if you accept like this. You see this picture. You know, Superman has this power to see through, and the idea was to do that. And in 1999, and before in 1994, we know that the only way to see inside the patient was to have medical image like that. And you see the set of slices in 2Ds and in gray level. So it was complex. And so the idea was to say, okay, we can do better. We can create something different by analyzing the image. And it is what I would like to show you here. Not this one, but this one. Okay. We want to create Iron Surgeon. And you see the idea of Iron Surgeon is to say that every human can become a superhero, can become more efficient if we had new technology of robotics and computer science. And it is exactly what we did since 1994. And after that, since 1999, when I became the director of ERCAD, scientific aspect. So in 1999, we wrote the first project named Medica. And Medica was an online service aiming to provide to any surgeon worldwide a 3D model of a patient, a kind of numerical copy, a clone in 3D, if you prefer, of the patient from the medical image. And it is exactly what we did. We have developed a set of software to propose that, and to develop that. And in 2013, after all this year of work, we succeed to create this online service for all parts of the human body. This service is provided online, and it is the reason why I switched from ERCAD to Visible Patient some years later. You see here how it works. The physician sends the image through internet onto a secure platform. The Visible Patient lab analyzes the image using algorithm based on artificial intelligence, but also with human behind in order to control the result and to optimize the result. And this result is sent back to the surgeon onto a secure platform, and then the surgeon can use it before the surgery to plan the surgery or during the surgery in order to have a vision of the patient intraoperatively. It is exactly what we did. It takes a long time to create all the software, about 15 years, and we created the company in 2013. It's the reason why several years later, in 2019, I left ERCAD to only lead Visible Patient Lab because it was mandatory to grow and to continue to optimize. And so 1 year after that, we signed a really important contract with Johnson & Johnson. You know these companies, so leaders in medical device. So it was in 2020. And thanks to that, we have now the possibility to offer the service in most of countries worldwide. And our solution is certified in 30 countries, to be really precise, worldwide. It's a medical device, and so you can use it for clinic in 30 countries worldwide. So It's the story, and it is how I progressively ever involve in EARCAD first, and after that in visible patient. In between, I have worked also in an institute, University Hospital Institute, IHU, of Strasbourg. And the objective of the IHU that we have created in 2012 was to propose an image-guided surgery. So you see, it's exactly the same story. It's only that we need at EARCAD to have more to prove the efficiency than what we had. And this more is medical image intraoperatively. It's really complex to prove an efficiency of a system if you don't have a value, an evaluation of what you do. And the main difficulty we had at this period of time was to prove the efficiency of superimposition, the see-through, what I call the iron surgeon. Only to give you an illustration of that, again, a small but fast video perhaps would be a good way to do that. So the objective in the IHU was to propose to see through the patient. That means to combine the virtual image with the real view of the patient. And you obtain what we call augmented reality. How to prove this efficiency without an intraoperative image? It's impossible. It is the reason why we created IHU of Strasbourg. And so we have developed lots of technology based on two HoloLens. For instance, you see here an example where you see the patient through thanks to the system and thanks to the software. And you see what the surgeon sees with the head system. This software, the first software is available today onto the Microsoft HoloLens platform, onto the Microsoft HoloLens store. It's named VPA Render. And this see-through vision is possible now thanks to this system. You see several examples here onto thorax, just before onto an abdomen for liver, here for in combination with robotic, or here with colorectal. This kind of vision, which is the future, is really important, and it is what is possible only if you have a virtual copy of the patient that can be put inside. So you understand all this story started from our work at EARCAD first, of course, and in parallel with IHU, and finally in this lab, which is a startup, a visible patient, that proposed this solution worldwide thanks to our partnership with Johnson & Johnson. It's a summary, but it's a global summary.
Fantastic. Professor, how many sites around the world are using the technology right now?
Currently, it's last year it was 16 countries who have used it. So currently there are 16 countries, and it's more than 120 hospitals currently that use it.
That's fantastic. Gee, that's a success story, isn't it? And tell me, it's obviously used in what about it's used in pre-operative assessment, post-operative assessment. How does the patient, can the patient access this information?
Yes, very good question. Thank you for that. We have performed a specific easy tools for that. Again, I can illustrate it. You will see it's really amazing how it's easy to use it, because it's based onto a free access onto an internet website. The data stay onto your computer, so you have no risk to lost the data. So I show you how it works. So easy. Again, I share my screen. So you see here, you have this platform that is named Online 3D Viewer that allow you to load the data. And sorry for that. And as you will see, you only have to take the file we send you, 3D file, you put it onto the site, and automatically you see it open it your file, and you can see the copy of the patient in 3D. So it works, as you have understood, we can do such modeling for any part of the body. So when you put it inside, you see, you can see all model we have performed. And of course, it's a great benefit for the patient to see its anatomy, its own anatomy, and of course, its own pathology in 3D and in color, because it's much more easy to understand when you have such modeling, what is your pathology and what will be the proposed solution of the surgeon about this, the way to correct this pathology.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I can see the definite benefits with a devascularized, where you can actually take the vasculature away and see the structures more clearly. So this is obviously a great benefit.
Yes, and it is clearly the main benefit for lung surgery, for liver surgery, and for kidney surgery. Again, the best is to illustrate. So I like to illustrate, you understand, our name is visible patient. Visible is really important. So let's take this example. You see here a lung with a pathology inside, and the difficulty is to propose a surgery onto these pathologies that you can see here at this position. Onto a 2D slice, it's not evident, even with color. But when you see it in 3D, you can see it. And what you are mentioning, the vasculature, is the key issue of any surgery. And what the software allows you to do, first, is to add or remove any structure inside this view in order to have a simplification of this complex anatomy. So you see here, I have removed arteries and veins. You see the security margin in yellow. And with a right click onto a branch, I can see the unvascular territory if I clamp this branch surgically. So here I do a click, and immediately you see the associated territory. What I clamp here is what we call the segment 2 in anatomy. And you see that the tumor go over the segment 2 in the area of the segment 1. I can do the same for segment 1. I can clamp the segment 1 in the same way. And this clip applying can be performed anywhere onto any branches, even the smaller one. You see, for instance, this one, it's a small one. I can clip the second one here. If I clamp the mother branch of these two small branches, I will see the global territory. So I can clip anywhere. It's a simulation that you can apply preoperatively in order to define your strategy. And in this example, to give you this example, you see you have an artery that can be added. We have several variations. Here we have an unusual branch coming from the segment 6 branch, and a second unusual branch here coming from a branch of the segment 3. And these two branches going, as you see, here around the tumors in the segment 2. It was really important to know that in advance to avoid an error. And the second major and really, really rare variation is this branch of vein that goes back the bronchus tree. It's totally unusual. And it was really, really important to notice that before to start the surgery, because it changed everything in your way to do the surgery, because you will have to go in the back of the bronchus tree to cut this vein. So all that show you and illustrate you the main interest and benefit to have such modeling, and why this virtual clip applying is mandatory and useful to perform surgery.
That's fantastic. So that's the vasculature covered. What about an area of the body? What if endometriosis or something that doesn't involve that? It's a different. I would be looking at things differently, wouldn't I?
Yes, endometriosis is highly complex. We have started a project last year on endometriosis because there is, between 10 and 15% of the women population that is touched by endometriosis. So we have started to work on that. Today, we have performed a first clinical test on 30 patients. We have published first result, and it gives the possibility to have a vision in 3D of the patient anatomy. So again, I'm sorry, I always share my screen because the best is to show you case. I show you an example of what that gives by opening a case, and you will see here. So here is the case.
It's a very complex procedure.
Yes, it's really complex, and because you don't know really in advance where will be located finally the endometriosis, and the great benefit to a visible patient is to see that in 3D. So you see here an example of 3D reconstruction from an MRI. You see the patient had a big ovary cyst. It's not the problem. The problem is the endometriosis here in green. So you see, great benefit is to have this 3D vision. You can compare that with a medical image. It will be interesting to see the difference between medical image and the sorry, I have to share.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so you see here the medical image that is here an MRI, and you understand when you see this MRI, it's not evident to detect where is the endometriosis and what is the limit of this endometriosis. When you see that in 3D with color, it's so easy. And the second really key issue is the invasion of this endometriosis in surrounding tissue, here typically in the rectum area. And here what you can do is to go virtually inside the rectum.
Oh,
and when
wow.
you do that, you immediately see that you have an invasion of the endometriosis of the rectum. And so you know that you will have to cut a part of the rectum to solve the problem. It is mandatory if you want to cure this patient. So this kind of vision is really crucial. We have started, as I said you, last year, this project. We are in good speed for development for that, but we need a complete clinical study to demonstrate the benefit.
Okay, that's fascinating. Tell me, can a surgeon create a 3D model from your software?
So no, the software sends the image to visible patient and we give back the model. The idea was to not spend time, that is really important of a physician, to do a computer scientific work or to do a radiological technician work. The idea is really to concentrate the work of a physician onto the planning of the surgery, that means the strategy. But the modeling is performed online. It's like, if you want to compare, it's like a general practitioner. The general practitioner doesn't perform himself the blood analysis. He could, but he has to buy the machine and he has to spend time to do the blood analysis, to take your blood, etc. So why to do that? There is no sense. It can be performed by expert technician. It's exactly what we did. We say it's the same for medical image. We have technician experts in our team that have a specific training to use this software. They do the analysis and they give it back to the surgeon that can use it to plan the surgery.
It makes perfect sense now. Thank you for that. I suppose the obvious question with your background in ERCAD is, how does this system relate to robotic surgery?
Yes, really good question, because it's really the future of all. The dream of a surgeon is to combine this technology with, of course, robotics. And it's logic, because robotics is really what everybody is waiting for to improve the accuracy of surgeons. So again, an example in video in order to illustrate perfectly. You see here, really, I think it's the best example to illustrate the future, like car driving. You see here a robot. You know that the surgeon drives the robot from a master system. And now take this vision here and compare that to a driver who is driving his car, looking here the road and manipulating his GPS onto a tactile screen. It's exactly what arrived. The surgeon has the 3D vision here of the patient internal view, thanks to the camera put inside the patient. He sees that thanks to this 3D system here. And just under, in the same view, he sees that 3D modeling. It's, you know, what we call the projection of GPS onto your glass when you drive a car. It's exactly the same. You have the tactile screen. And so the surgeon manipulates the 3D model in parallel to the vision of the road, which is the internal part of the patient. So you can combine that like this. And of course, in the future, the objective is to fuse these two images together by putting inside the robotic view the 3D model. It will be the next step.
Actually, that's a real game changer, because, you know, the idea of getting the vasculature right and the structure absolutely perfect is such a complex, I think it's the art of surgery.
Yeah.
And
yes, and it's complex. All organ are movement. So we need to add some physical property, and it is exactly the objective of the IHU of Strasbourg. The objective is to optimize our knowledge of internal structure thanks to intraoperative image. This intraoperative image change everything. You know, when you have a GPS in a car, you have satellite, you see? So imagine you go in your car, you start your car, you have the GPS that is localized thanks to the satellite. Now you drive your car, you know where you are, no problem, because you have the satellite. And then you go in a tunnel. What arrives if you go in a tunnel? It is exactly what arrives when you do a medical image preoperatively. The medical image preoperatively is like the satellite. It allows us to know where you are, what is the anatomy, what is the road finally. But when you go inside the tunnel, you have not anymore the satellite available. It is when you do the surgery, you have not anymore a medical image that gives you the position. How to do that in such a case? There is a possibility, like in a car, when you are in a tunnel, you have some other sensor, like the wheel, that allow you to know your speed. You know that you are in a tunnel, so you cannot go back in a tunnel. So necessary, if you know your speed, and if you know the road, and if you know where you are at the entrance of the tunnel, you can continue to know where you are in the tunnel thanks to this new information. It is exactly what we did for surgery. That give this
absolutely.
Kind of, I show you the result of that. At the beginning of the surgery, we do, like when you start your car, a medical image. It's the satellite around the patient. You see it turn around the patient. It gives you your initial position, like when you start your car. And then, thanks to this view, you have this intraoperative image. You can compare that with the preoperative image in gray here. And the software automatically makes the registration. Exactly when you start your drive, the GPS position automatically puts you onto the map. It's what you see here. And at the end of this process, you see we have a perfect 3D view with, and the precision is 0.5 millimeter. So you imagine it's amazing. 0.5 millimeter of precision for this shape. And now you entrance inside the tunnel. You have not any more medical image available. How you do that? In such a case, you analyze, like a car, you analyze the movement of the car. Here, you analyze in real time the movement of the organs. And only thanks to this analysis, we can do in real time the deformation of the organs because we know its anatomy in 3D. Exactly like when you go in a tunnel, we can analyze your position because we know the anatomy of the road. And so we know what is the road, we know the speed thanks to the analysis of the deformation, and it allows us to have this view. The precision is lower, of course. It's 2 millimeters of precision. Exactly when you are in the tunnel, the precision is lower than the satellite. It is the same spirit, but you can understand, thanks to that, how will be this future of surgery, where we can combine this 3D modeling preoperatively with the intraoperative use of this 3D modeling.
That's remarkable. I had no idea. That's very, very impressive. That's a game changer for surgery around the world. I'm very impressed. I had heard of it, but I had never seen it. So I think that what you've achieved is, I think you're going to change surgery. I think that's a remarkable comment.
Not only me, it's a whole the team of IRCAD, IHU, and visible patient that work onto that topic. It is, and we are not the only one to work onto such topic, but I think it's really the future. If you combine that with artificial intelligence, you can imagine much more, because artificial intelligence will give you, for instance, the time of your surgery. You see, when you start your car, you want to go from A to B, and the software say you how long it will be to reach the point B. In the future, it will be exactly the same with surgery, and we have started that work in order to have a prediction of the length, the time needed to do the surgery. Another aspect that is really interesting, thanks to this real-time analysis, when you do a bad gesture, you see, you are driving, the GPS say you turn right, and you don't turn right, you turn left. What arrive? It's the same in surgery. If you do a bad gesture, you cut an artery that was not planned. What you do? With this kind of future system, you can analyze in real time what you are doing. You can see that you have cut the bad vessel because you have the augmented relative view. And you can say, oh, take care, you cut a vessel that should not be cutted. And if you combine that with a robot, you can also avoid the cut. You can say, no, you mustn't cut this vessel, and the robot avoid you to cut it. So you see, you can imagine amazing thing for the future, but it is possible only if you have the patient map. It is the reason why it was so important for me to reach visible patient, to develop this patient map available worldwide, anywhere, because if you don't have this cornerstone, because it is a cornerstone, you cannot develop all what I've shown you. You need this patient map to develop the GPS, to develop the automatic driving on assistance, to the surgeon. It is the next step, of course, but it starts from this first step.
Fantastic. I also see this obviously in health education, in training surgeons is going to be invaluable. Absolutely.
Oh, yes. And it changed lots of things for training. We are speaking a lot, in the world about the metaverse, for instance. And you know that metaverse are seen like a gadget or an advertising of company Meta. In reality, if you use it efficiently, you can do really amazing things with metaverse. Like, for instance, see the position or see what a surgeon do at distance and interact with a surgeon at distance. It's totally feasible to do that if you use the good system. Here, of course, in the same way that what I've shown you before, you can combine your modeling with a tracking in real time inside the OP room in order to share in real time in the OP room the vision of the patient. So it's something I frequently present during Congress. If you want, in the same way, I can illustrate that with a really simple example that illustrates how we can use this metaverse concept inside the OP room. So you see here a student, not a student, a surgeon who speaks with me, and I explain him. So I have on my head, I have an HoloLens from Microsoft system, so I can see. This is the reason why I can see, you see the OP room. I am not in a virtual world. I am in the real world. And the virtual world is superimposed onto the real one. It's not the same than to use virtual reality system. It's augmented reality. So you see here, I speak with the surgeon and we discuss together. Why is there an avatar? There is no need here because I can see the real people. It's only because if I now use it at distance, I can have in a distance room the same interaction. So I will show you now. This second interaction. Where it is, not in this video. Next one, not this one. Here it's in the OP room. Okay, here. Imagine you have a surgeon at distance and you are in a second room. Here you see the avatar of this distance, of this surgeon at distance in a second room. I have my position. He is explaining me something onto the anatomy, but I have a different angle of view. What I will do, I move my body and I will put my real head in the virtual head of this surgeon. Let's take it. You see, I move and I come and I put my head at this position. You know, like in the movie Ghost, you remember this movie Ghost, where the ghost go inside the body and he has the same view. So now what I see is exactly the same angle of view that the surgeon, and the surgeon at distance is explaining me the anatomy and the surgery he planned to do. Imagine such tool for education. It's an amazing tool because the student or the resident can understand perfectly what the surgeon explained because he shows what he do with exactly the same angle of view. And you manipulate the model in 3D. It's a 3D rendering, so you can manipulate that in 3D. You can do that before the surgery. You can do that after the surgery. Of course, you can do that during the surgery. And it is really the great benefit of that for the future. So I think it's really the view of that for the future. Again, this view you already saw, but to give you some example here, you see this view, for instance, of a surgeon using this HoloLens. So he sees through, I remember you, it is what he can see with the HoloLens, you see, and he manipulates, he shows you have to put the first trocar here, the second trocar here, and the student can have, as you see here, the same view of the surgeon, or can have an external view, like you see here, of the surgeon. He can switch. He has his own view of the same view of the surgeon. And again, you see, you can combine that with robotic in the same way. So you have here a kind of conclusion for this aspect of education. We can really combine all technology. If you have a model, if you have the good software to do that, you can really use it in routine for education in the same way than for practice. And you know that for medicine, and especially for surgery, education and practice are totally fused during the training because you cannot train a resident to become a surgeon without to practice. Here, you secure the practice because you have more information, you can avoid some mistake, you can control what you do really much more easily than in the past.
So you're going to get better outcomes all around.
Yeah.
Okay, that was fabulous. Well, look, I'm very grateful for your time today. It's been a great privilege, and I've learned so much, and I think everybody watching this has learned so much. Are you, whereabouts are you? Are you in Paris? Where
No,
you?
we are in Strasbourg. We are located in
Oh,
Strasbourg,
okay.
close to ERCAD, because as you understood, ERCAD, only to give you value, ERCAD, it is 7,000 surgeons worldwide that come in Strasbourg to have a training. ERCAD is located in several countries. There is 2 ERCAD in Brazil, 1 ERCAD in US, 1 ERCAD in Africa, 1 ERCAD in Taiwan. There is a new one that will open also in China. ERCAD is located worldwide to train surgeons locally. And associated to ERCAD, you have WebSurge. That is one of the projects inside ERCAD. And WebSurge is an online university. And more than 400,000 surgeons are connected every month to have courses online, free courses, because it's free of charge, thanks to the partnership with industrial partner. So it's an amazing tool of education and continuous education that Professor Maresco has created. And all what you have seen is really the base of the spirit of what Professor Maresco would like to create. It came from a vision of Rick Satava. I don't know if you know Rick Satava. He was the head of the DARPA in US. And in 1992, he presented an amazing presentation during a congress. Professor Maresco was there. And he saw this amazing presentation and he said, we will do that. And it was a virtual video where you see the future possibility, but it was only virtual, and Professor Maresco decided to create it. And thanks to that, we have developed all this amazing thing you have seen here.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you very much. All right. Well, I wish you all the very best for the future, sir, and take care of yourself.
Thank you very much again for your invitation.
I'm
happy to have shared you all this information.
You're wonderful. Thank you.